The summary of my journey to Europe. The text presented describes Dr. Rajendra Prasad's visit to Europe. The author has presented interesting sansmaran about the historical buildings and cities seen during the visit. This was my first trip abroad. In consultation with friends, I made warm clothes for winter. I used to wear only khadi. Even after going there, I did not think it appropriate to break this rule. Therefore, Kashmiri wool clothes should be imported from Khadi Bhandar. The fabric was also cut and trimmed. I decided not to wear English clothes. As a result, two things happened. A lot of clothes were made for work at a very low cost. The dress was Indian, so even if there was some mistake or ugliness in it, no foreigner could understand. When wearing English dress and lifestyle, they have to walk, wear clothes and eat and drink according to the fashion and customs of those people. By maintaining your lifestyle, all these hassles are removed. Especially for a man like me, this hassle is no less because I have never paid attention to clothes and fashion in life. I have considered clothes as a means of keeping the body warm and removing shame. My dress on the ship remained the center of people's curiosity. A Parsi couple and an English gentleman were particularly attracted to me. Gandhiji, time was easily cut off in talking about khadi and vegetarianism. On the way, I learned that as long as the ship passed through the Suez Canal, there was such an arrangement from the Thomas Cook Company that any passenger who wanted could go by car and see the city of Cairo. I enjoyed watching it. A few other passengers had also arranged to go there with Thomas and Cook. We got off the ship at 5 in the morning and went to Cairo on a motor vehicle. Upon arriving in Cairo, we were taken to a hotel for washing our hands and having breakfast, then we went to see Cairo's museum. The objects extracted from the excavation of the pyramids there have been preserved so far. The mummies of many of the great and majestic emperors of ancient Egypt, which have emerged from the pyramids, are preserved there. Now they are black, but their faces and hands and feet are the same. The cloth in which they were wrapped is still wrapped in the same. That cloth used to be very fine. It is said that those clothes used to be exported from India. In those days, the inhabitants believed that if all the comforts were buried with a lifeless body, then he could get comfort from them even in the hereafter. According to this belief, inside the pyramids, all the necessary items were carried with the dead body: clothes and jewelry to wear, posts to sit, food to eat, makeup items, chariots for rides, and boats. Looking at them, it is known that even at that time people knew the behavior of sleeping. Seeing the dead body of wheat, it is known how insignificant, and heard that in a similar excavation, it was grown in Mohenjo-daro, Sindh. The objects of the museum, and especially of the majestic kings, seem to be that whatever we do in the name of our nobility is temporary. The bodies of the emperors who are said to have committed a lot of atrocities in their time are still lying in the same way. Those who do not read the history there do not even know their names. Although the visit to the museum was entertaining, the truth of fleeting life had a profound effect on my heart. I just got sad out of there. After the museum, we were shown some ancient and famous buildings in the city, including a famous mosque. In Egypt, Muslims pray facing east, because from there the holy Kaaba falls to the east. The mosques there also remain in the east for this reason. Although Cairo is an old city, the part we saw was very similar to the cities of today. After lunch, we went to see the pyramid on the motor car for some distance. One place I had to leave the car when I arrived. We had to ride on camels to the pyramids. This ride was completely new to me, because I had never climbed a camel. I looked closely at the pyramids. These are square buildings. Just like brick kilns are built in our country, they are made in very large square pieces of stone. Like the kiln, the width of the bottom is higher, which has decreased upwards. The brick kiln is small, but the pyramids are very large and high. Each stone brick in them, I guess, would be 5 cubits long. Accordingly, their width and thickness are also there. In how many days such a big building would have been ready by cutting every brick? How many poor people would have spent so much of their lives in it? And all this was done to maintain the name of a king even after he died. My name is only in the books now. These buildings, from which man cannot benefit, are still standing in their place today, thousands of years later. We also saw a bizarre statue in the desert. This is called the Sphinx. You hear, in ancient times it used to answer questions. After coming back in the evening, we boarded the train and reached Said Port at 11 o'clock in the night. The ship had reached there. Food and drink were done on the train itself. So we all went to sleep in our rooms. On reaching the Mediterranean Sea, it started to feel cold. The Red Sea was hotter, even hotter than the Arabian Sea. The wind in the Mediterranean was also somewhat louder. So the ship moved a bit. When the ship passed near the nearby island of Sicily in Italy, the city there was seen from a distance. The mountain was clearly visible. A few days later we reached Marseille, France. Nothing special happened along the way. There is water all around in the sea journey. After a couple of days, the water gets bored day and night. If a passing ship is seen somewhere or the ground is seen, then it is very enjoyable. All the passengers look at him as if they have never seen the ground. We landed in Marseille early in the morning. We stayed at a hotel there. There too, I saw all the places to see in the city by the boat of the Thomas Cook Company, and as soon as I got off the ship in the morning, I had secured a place for myself in the train that left at night. After wandering all day, he left for Paris by night car. The Paris car changed to Cale. There he boarded the ship and landed in Dover in the evening. He boarded the train from Dover and reached London at around 9 p.m. I arrived in London in the third week of March. I found friends who had already arrived at the station. I went straight to the house that had been taken over earlier. Gone. He was in Gold's Green. We stayed there for a few days. I went to London for a trial. After being discharged from trial, I wanted to meet Romain Rollau, but upon reaching his house it was found that he had gone to Mount Catrigi due to the heat. I went there. The road was beautiful. The train climbed a high mountain. I was there for 2 days. We also had a conversation with Roman Roland. The difficulty was that I didn't know French and they didn't know English. Therefore, the help of an interpreter had to be sought. From there, I saw the cities of Vanwell, Neuchâtel, Lausanne, and Geneva. A surprising event occurred in Neuchâtel. I was walking around the market there. I started looking at hand-woven clothes in a shop. The shopkeeper was a woman. He looked at my clothes and understood that I was an Indian. The woman told me about Gandhiji. I was surprised that she not only knew Gandhiji's name, but had read the books she could find about him. From there he returned to London. From London, I went to Holland. In those days, an international conference of youth was taking place there. I also gave a speech there. The conference was of anti-war youth. From there I went to Berlin. I went around and watched Berlin. From Berlin, he reached Leipzig and stayed there for a day. There I thought of meeting the famous hydrologist Louis Coney, but I learned that he had died before I arrived, then went to Munich according to my itinerary. There I saw the famous cellar house, where Hitler's speeches used to take place. I also saw the famous museum there. Went to Venice from Munich. It's a strange city. There is a sea in every house. There is no other ride there except the boat. There are rocks in the middle of the water. There are houses built on them. There is an abundance of mosquitoes. It is difficult to sleep even in Masahari. Arrived in Rome from Venice. Seeing all the famous places there, I left for Marseille. From Marseille, Multan, boarded the ship and landed in Mumbai. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was born on December 3, 1884. He passed his BA and MA examinations from the University of Calcutta. In 1920, he left the profession and joined the non-cooperation movement. From 1950 to 1962, he was the first President of the Republic of India. He wrote many books, including autobiography, Champaran, Satyagraha, India Divided, Bapu ke Kadmon mein. He died on February 28, 1963. For more update, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.